Get ready for Netflix's gripping new medical drama, Pulse. Set in a cutting-edge Miami trauma center, third-year resident Dr. Danny Sims is unexpectedly thrust into a promotion when beloved chief resident Dr. Xander Phillips gets suspended. Then, with the emotional and physical stakes at their highest, a storm will push the hospital and its residents to their limits. Witness how life can change in a heartbeat when you're operating under pressure. Watch Pulse, only on Netflix.
We just had my business partner Sonam come in telling us there's a news story. They're telling people to stop buying coffee out to stop a recession. This is the new avocado toast. Remember when they came out and said no one's going to be able to afford a house because they're buying too much avocado toast? I don't think that's the issue. I don't think avocado toast is the problem.
They're not going after vapes. They're not going after alcohol.
They're going after coffee.
They're not going after subscriptions.
Yeah.
They're going after your lattes.
Yeah.
People, I say, fucking rise up against these.
Chickadee check 1, 2.
Yep. I hope we leave all that we just
we've got to keep that in. I love just the straight in.
Absolutely.
Because that was pure, unadulterated rage.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
It was hot, one might say.
Rage.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of Coffee Break.
And what is Coffee Break, Liam?
Look, Coffee Break is for the listeners, really. We get to, it's a boys hangout. We get to chat about the episode that we just had and our thoughts. And in the future, hopefully we'll have some requests, some questions from prior episodes of the listener, you guys. I'm going to be kind of the voice of the people and, your way to connect to these beautiful boys of coffee. So hit us up on any of the socials and don't be shy. Any which way, mail us.
Yeah, hello at itsjustcoffeepod.com. It's just coffee.
It's just coffee.
It's just coffee.
How'd you feel the episode with Lachlan Wardman?
That was a bloody ripper. It's always great when you just get a solid professional in. Reminded me of when we had Ross Quayle in.
The Quayle.
Where they've clearly, media trained, done well, and obviously just a wealth of knowledge and just have so much to say about the industry. And so grateful that he could give up his time. He had some big plans that were happening at the time. So for him to give up an hour for us there was really great of him.
Yeah, and it kind of, there was something I was thinking about between finishing that and starting this. I've known him for a long time now, and it's very nice of him to come on, obviously, and spend his time doing that. But as you progress through an industry, you're so lucky, not just in coffee, but if you're working in any industry, and if you work in the industry and you progress, you get into higher positions that are more paid, but it's the relationships that you build that really help you get places.
Absolutely.
Relationships. And in my previous job, working with Riverina, the boss there told me, it's like, Kirk, it's all about relationships. Build the relationships. And I just feel like, well, it pays off because then you can get good guests on your podcast. You can, get
Absolutely.
cheap. Yeah, he said he might even be able to get us into the Formula One next year.
Oh, yeah, I know. I've never seen someone jump on something so quickly because I feel like you thought there was like a dead invite. I'm just like, well, mate, if you have any boxes or anything at the Formula One, I'd love to come along. He goes, yeah, we'd love to have you. Like, yeah, me too.
Yeah, well, I mean,
me too.
Well, firstly, ex-colleagues. Secondly, I'm actually getting into Formula One these days.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
I know you had some of the facts about Red Bull and engineers switching over.
Well, I mean, so I've never watched Red Bull until this year, 2024. Red Bull, Formula One.
Yeah.
And so I watched the Australian Grand Prix for the first time at the request of my girlfriend, who's loves F1. And got to know this.
Sorry, your girlfriend loves F1.
Yeah, she does. And it's like, and that's the thing. There's like F1's very approachable for a lot of fans nowadays.
I've been saying Formula One is the new horse racing. It's where all the cool people are going. They got their box because horse racing has so many problems now around obviously the gambling side of it, but also the treatment of the animals and the cruelty and that kind of thing. And so I think Formula One is the new one. It's the new get a box, have a party, just have a day out, dress up.
But that's the thing. Like one of the things that we like about sports and all sorts of entertainment sort of industries is like the drama that goes on around it. And, like for me, I love NFL and NBA, but one thing that's just as good as the sport itself is following the trades. Who's going where, who's saying what, and it's just the same Formula One. Like right now, there's like this exchange period. It's just awesome.
I feel like there's been an insurgence of both NBA fans and F1 fans because of the Netflix series. There's the F1 series, whatever it is.
Drive to Survive.
I haven't seen it yet, but I know there were so many people that watched
It's awesome.
That series, and then they were hooked.
Yeah.
Everyone came around. Everyone's invested. You understand it more.
And yeah, what's interesting about it is that you can tell it's very fatiguing for the people that have featured in it. They're just, oh shit, the Netflix guys are following us around again. But like, yeah, what a masterstroke by the F1, administrators to allow that to happen, because just how many more people have you let into the sport?
Absolutely. I mean, I've always looked at that sport when people talk about it. I'm, making a generalization here. I'm not saying all of it, but I know from like talking to my girlfriend or some other girls where it's like, how can you like sports, but they're watching reality TV? And the same way around the other way.
Yeah.
Sports is just reality TV. What they don't understand is the reason you're getting so hyped is you're like, oh, that guy left that team. That guy said this about him. They got dropped because of this. It's not even like the sport. It's all the stories behind it that you're really getting into.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the whole enchilada.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the coffee shit.
Oh, the pod, mate, St. Ali opening up in Bali. That is, I always think about that. Sonam and I, as we, set up our business, always try to think, how can we make this fun for ourselves? How can we get the most out of it? And something like that, setting up a cafe in Bali and just being like, all right, got to go check out the Bali shop for 2 weeks. Unreal. What a way to set yourself up for success there.
And you know what? That's one of the things about coffee. If you're good at it, you'll get to travel, and in many different ways. When I worked for St. Ali, and Lachlan, I should have mentioned this when he was here, but shouted me a trip overseas a couple of times. So,
really?
Yeah, I got to go to Bolivia, got to go to Brazil.
Again, get to know the people, make those connections.
Yeah. And then we went to Singapore and had a pop-up cafe there, and that was awesome. That was a very awesome experience. I think there was one more overseas trip I did with them. Can't remember where to though.
I was actually talking about this earlier, where it's like, I don't for 1 second forget how lucky I am with like what we've built up with like Golden Brown and the channel, and like now the opportunities that are presenting themselves. Like, we're going with La Marzocco to Academia in Florence, or just outside of Florence in Italy. Like, we're getting flown over there, which is unbelievable. I never thought that doing this job could be get me flown, across the world to do that. We also we did a great shoot for taking the Micra and the Pico with you when you travel. That
was awesome, by the way. It looked great.
Yeah, thank you. We got a Defender, big old Defender, kitted it out with the machine in the back, drove down the yachtways, made some coffees, got the generator, made it out in nature there. And again, you got to make your time work for you. Not that anyone paid for this. This was out of our pocket, but also made our way down to Brae and had a little lunch down at Brae.
What's Brae for the people listening that might not know?
Brae is, we don't have the Michelin stars here, but if it was, it'd be like one of those 2-3 Michelin star restaurants. It's all about that kind of farm to table. They have a beautiful property. You do like a little tour around. You see them growing all of their own vegetables and produce out there. So it's all about that. It's what's grown there is on your plate. Unbelievable service. It's also just that level of service of when you're going in. Yep. But, not cheap. Do you have any guesses of how much that little lunch will set you back for the two of us?
Oh, it has to be $300 a head.
I think all up the bill was, I did matching wines. Sonam did the half matching wines where you get like every second drink is a wine. Every other one is something that they make, like kombucha. I think that bill might have been more in the range of $1,500.
Fuck.
Yeah,
okay.
For that whole thing. So
I actually saw the menu and I was like, God damn. And to be fair, in two ways, it's like, the bougier the menu, almost the more simple it looks. But there's like the more simple the ingredients are, but the more rogue they are in combination, if that makes sense.
When I was in Singapore with St. Ali, actually, they took us to a restaurant called Burnt Ends. And if you're at home, you should look up Burnt Ends if you're able to. So we did you just reminded me, so we did this, meal with wine pairing to match. And I was there with a guy called Shinsaku Fukuyama, and Shin didn't drink. And so, but he actually ordered the wine pairing, so I got to do his wine pairing as well.
Oh, you did double wine pairing?
I did double wine pairing.
Mate, how were you after that? Because I tell you what, I did a dinner years ago at Attica, one of the top 10 restaurants listed in the world. And their pairing also had like different beers and other things in it as well. And I tell you what, I don't even remember the last 2 to 3 courses of the meal because I was just like blackout from this like wine pairing and was like could barely even like eat by the end of it.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Just to complete, you just triggered a memory for me. Shin, I used to work at a cafe in Elsternwick called Loco. It was quite a crazy combination, but Shin that was the first cafe he came to, and I taught him how to pour his first coffee And I ended up
No
getting
way.
a message from his wife years down the line when they got married, thanking me and inviting me to the wedding and everything.
Wow.
And then I see he's the barista samurai of Saint Ali and is like crushing the game.
He's done really well for himself. He's
Yeah.
over in Osaka now.
Incredible, yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I really liked about the podcast we've just done is the rapid fire questions. I think that's here to stay.
Rapid fire questions are great.
yeah.
Also, big shout out to Liam for all
Yes.
the music that he's
Yeah.
producing.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy.
I do have, so the two notes that I have on the music, this is, there's positive feedback, but there's also going to be some, critiques. as well.
Absolutely. Hit me. I'm here for it.
The boiling water. I get it. It's a kettle. I get it. We're coffee. That section it's the build up. We need some flames.
Yeah.
We need the heat.
I know.
Also, the extra hot take with 2 sugars a song. Can you play the sound?
Yeah, sure.
I'm torn here because I love that. That is a vibe.
Very
That is
Tame
absolute-
Impala-esque.
Yeah, very Tame Impala-esque. But does the extra hot take with 2 sugars need to have like the gusto?
Bit more thunder.
A bit more thunder behind it, but also not, we bring the thunder, so maybe that could be a good tie-in. I don't know. I mean, again, this is another point. Write in, let us know.
No, for sure. For
Peek
sure.
behind the curtains. We're, 10, 11 episodes deep now. These are, if you're listening to these probably happened 10 weeks ago because we are currently setting up our partnership with how we launched the podcast. So we're kind of backlogging a few of these, getting a few under the belt, feeling comfortable with each other. But we'll probably push this out and we can start asking for listener feedback and questions through our channels, through our social channels that we're going to set up. So we hopefully will start having some of those questions start filtering in the next couple of weeks.
When I think extra hot take 2 sugars, I feel like something obscene.
Yeah.
What if we got some real heavy metals and
You want to go back into your old
double bass
Parkway
drums.
Drive.
Extra hot take with 2 sugars.
That's my submission. I mean, the listeners might disagree, but
It's very different from it's a hot take.
Yeah, you're right.
2 sugars.
yeah. It's like,
Also, just as we're talking about that, because a lot of the vocals I think on there are Liam, we brought up last week on the show to go and watch The Voice. I hope some of you went and listened to him on The Voice. He was singing some Harry Styles. How's it go? What am I now? What am I now?
That's right. Yeah,
Hit me
you
with the
got it.
harmonies.
You got
What
it.
if I'm someone I don't want around?
see, I don't listen to Harry Styles and I don't watch The Voice, so I'm sorry, but I'm
That's
gonna
okay.
I'm gonna Google it.
That's
Look
okay.
it up. That's all.
Yeah.
Just a reminder to everyone go and watch that.
Yeah. No, it
Those in
happened.
there. And also another thing with the rapid fire questions, it was great. Great suggestion by Local Maud. Maybe we'll move it up a little earlier in the podcast.
Yeah.
Just after the coffee news. Just come in with a section. Bang. Get the energy
Well, it's
rolling.
good. It's
get the
good.
people
Sometimes
pumped.
you need to warm up. It's like, we can't all do the Tony Robbins bounce on our legs, thing before we start.
Yeah.
But we, maybe just prime the listener.
No, I think
the interviewee a bit.
I think it was good. Yeah, it actually set a pace, and it kind of what was also good. It like flowed into hot take as well, because everyone's like kind of jazzed up after the timer's going, and then going into something's hot. It set a nice pace.
I also want to get on this soundboard that we have. I'm excited by the idea of the soundboards and that. We also need to start clipping some of our audio takes from the pod that we can start using as things. Like I just want a button that's just you going like, "Have you had the rat shit coffee? Have you had the rat shit coffee?"
Oh, I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna sneak attack you. I'm gonna get some ammo for one podcast in the future.
Oh,
for
there
quotes
you
that
go.
You've done, and I'm gonna use it against you during the thing. So don't worry, sneak attack incoming.
Oh no. The other thing that we were talking about, and we talked about it before, was Rowan's shred diaries that we're doing.
Shred for stereo.
Down 1.2 kgs. We'll keep that going over the time.
What's your secret?
What have I been doing? So I've cut out, not all carbs, I've cut out quite a few, lots of protein, that kind of thing. I'm doing, those 13,000, 15,000 steps a day, getting up early, doing that. I'll probably start incorporating some jogging. No drinking during the week, but again,
It's so good.
I want
Giving up the grog. So
yeah,
good.
I want this also to be a sustainable change and thing that's happening. So it's like it's just on those off nights. If I'm going home, if I'm doing that. But if it's during the week and we have like, hey, there's this opportunity to go out here and do that, sure. Happy to go and eat a little bit, have a drink and whatever. But in my personal time, keep it healthy there. And I reckon that's pretty easy. That's 5 nights of the week.
But that was a really interesting thing that Lachlan brought up as well. Is he's saying that I try and get a little snippet for my own life when I do these interviews from people.
Yeah.
And, like I was mentioning, trying to get your organization tips, and you had some good ones about Sonam, like 8 before 1 or 1 before 8 or whatever, that rule that you have.
Yep.
And then, Lachlan, he's got this routine of going for a run or something every morning, and, that kind of sets him up for success. And as I've opened up this cafe, it's kind of like I've just done it so quickly. All my good habits have fallen by the wayside. I'm not packing myself lunch. I'll quite often have a croissant for lunch, and, just kind of, I've stacked on a few kegs.
So are you thinking you're going to join the Shred Diaries? Are you,
you know what? I'm going to join the Shred Diaries.
Oh, you heard it here first. We have a second participant in the Shred Diaries. All right,
I'm in.
So you need to weigh in next week. Get if you don't have to share your weight if you don't want.
I'm a cool 87 right now.
87? Okay.
87 kilos.
87 kegs is that starting point. We'll do that. And also, I'm sure there are some listeners. Maybe if you want to join in on the Shred Diaries, let us know. Give us some of your tips if you want them. We're here to support each other, supporting community. Dropping some kegs together. Yeah. Hey, and if you're feeling great in your body, great. Stay healthy. Love yourself.
Yeah.
Also write in. If you're feeling good, write in.
Yeah. You're like, I don't need to do a damn thing. I'm amazing.
Yep. Yeah. I feel that. But, a bit of health never hurt nobody, and, I'm all about it.
My thing is, though, when we were talking to Lachlan, he was talking about when he does these runs, these exercises, no audio, nothing. I feel like I'm a product of, maybe it's a millennial thing, like whatever it is. When I was a kid growing up, even at night, just to get to sleep, I just like put on the same movie. I used to put on Garden State every night. Just that soundtrack was going, and I just use that as like white noise to go to sleep. And even when I'm like, if I just walk down the street for 10 minutes, I put headphones in and I've got something going. I think I'd struggle to go plain, but maybe it's a good exercise to kind of meditate, to do that walk in the morning and actually just process the day ahead, what's happening. Also just think about, it's a nice moment sometimes to think about how you're interacting with people. Have you been the best person that you can be in that time? Maybe it is a good time to try to meditate and do a bit of that. I struggle though, because it feels like I always love my time listening to my pods in the morning.
Yeah, I've got some friends that meditate 20 minutes when they wake up and 20 minutes before they go to bed. And, they're high achievers, high, operating at a high level. But
can I ask you a question with that? What comes first, the chicken or the egg on that? Are these people high achievers already, and so they're the people who are implementing this stuff in their life? Or is it like meditation that's making them a high achiever? I think it's probably the first thing.
Yeah, I think so as well. But, they probably use the meditation to cope with, their day-to-day
the stress
life
and all that kind of
handle
stuff.
Things.
I think some of that when you listen to like those diaries of CEO and you're like, I'm up at 4, I'm doing this, I'm on the tread, then I'm answering emails at 6, and I have this kids up at 7, then I'm doing this, and they have it planned out till like night, and they're like, I'm doing emails at 9 o'clock in bed. I'm like, too much for me. There needs to be a bit more balance in how it is. I can't go power to them. That's incredible. I just, I don't know if I'd get the fulfillment that I need out of that.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I feel the same. And like, just to jump on like kind of what we took away from the pods, Lockie, meditation, running and everything, I found it quite refreshing the way he spoke about his past with working with Saint Ali and his kind of come up story. But the fact that he was so open with talking about the ceiling of the hospitality world and industry, it's like, you got to get after it because it's not going to be kind of given to you. And the fact that he's talking about that, he's encouraging
Yeah, we're in the middle of the pod.
Oh, you?
Yeah. Come down here.
Come here, kid.
Come on,
everyone.
This is my business partner, Sonam Sherpa.
Son, the interrupter.
Sorry about that.
No, that's all right. Please interrupt. This is the coffee break. It's a bit more
of improv.
Bit more off the cuff.
I was actually going to come out and ask if you finished to have a coffee. The irony of it all, it's amazing. I will sit here quietly.
We'll be a few minutes.
Can we have a wrap it up sound?
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
We're getting there, yeah.
But one thing that you just that I thought about just before, social media even though you play in the space, and I'm not taking shots at anyone here,
Please,
and
take the shots.
even I'm about to hopefully play in the space, but like I really do think life was so much better before it. You know, like I feel like with all the things going on in the world now, do we just know about it from social media, or are there new challenges that we haven't faced before? Like, you know, wars and things like that. They happened before.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, power struggles and whatnot. I don't know. Maybe some of that's a bit different and not so easy to judge.
Yeah, it's also, you know, it's an interesting thing where you look at it with TikTok. Like the whole dilemma in the US at the moment with like China and TikTok and everything that's happening. Like it is weird. These social platforms came out of nowhere and have so much power of like deciding the news zeitgeist and what's happening and what the, you know, agendas are. And then the way the algorithm works, you only see what you're being told to see and you get in your own bubble. So it is interesting. But on the other side, the power to it, it's like the amount, the level that people's culinary game has like jumped up is out of control. And like how much I know about cooking, how much I know about different cultures, how much I'm learning on that side. Like I truly love that side. And I'm a make dinner at home every night. And it's not just a whip something. I'm in there. It's an hour-long prep just for 5 minutes of eating, but I love it. And I love sharing food with people, having people over and doing that. Like you get offended when people come over and like, oh, you didn't have to do all this. Like you could have just ordered a pizza. I'm like, this is my way of showing love to you. That you're coming over to my house. I'm prepping this stuff. I'm putting in that effort and I want you to love it. I want to see that, you know, moment where you like, everyone goes silent for 20 seconds as there's just silence around the tables. Everyone's digging in. I love that.
No, 100%. I couldn't agree more. And I'm the same way, you know, social media is I think it's a weapon that needs to be wielded with a bit of care. You know, it can be a weight on your shoulders, but on the other side, it can completely open yourself to the rest. You know, it does. It connects you, educates you. You know,
look, we just spoke about the negatives, but you know, there's some positives. You know, you learn some new things, connect with new people, find out about the world's greatest coffee podcast and shit like that. You know, there's
find out about amazing cafes that are opening down, about amazing coffee brands. The last thing that I wanted to bring up was just a quick question. I thought it was interesting talking about Lachlan's journey. You were just touching on it then about coming up in the industry. And I think we will have a lot of people that probably want to follow a similar path. So I thought it was interesting him saying, go out there, be hungry, take it. Because are there any pitfalls that you'd look out for? Because I know when I was working, there's places want to keep you around for longer, and you need to find a good place that's going to support you. But then, you know, you hear those things about like, oh, we'll give you an X% of the next cafe or this when we open it up. Do you have any experience? Like you're running your own cafe now. Like, do you have any advice similar to Lachlan?
I mean, just do what's best for you. I mean, I feel like the barriers to entry are kind of getting harder in a lot of ways because, you know, in a country like ours, you know, regulation's high, for example. You got to invest money, which is now a lot harder to save. I don't think there's anyone denying that that's true. So it's probably getting a little bit harder. But as long as you're getting, a lot of the time people are making money off you. And, you know, you don't want to work your whole life fulfilling someone else's dream. But
I would also say like just think about it. Obviously, when you're working in coffee, the thing is like, I will open cafe, I will run roastery or whatever that steps is. We had that. Sonam and I sat down when we started our business and we were like, we love coffee, we love food. There's so many roasters, there's roasteries, there's so many places. Like, what can our point of difference be? And our, you know, our North guiding star wasn't a coffee roastery. We kind of set it up as we are going to be like food and coffee. And from that, our guiding star was we want to help everyone deserves a great cup of coffee, and everything that we did had to ladder up to that. So we were going to make coffee for home coffee machines. It's easier to brew, easier to grind. It's going to taste better on home machines. That helps you have a better coffee. We made cups that are easier to pour into. We made content that taught people how to make better coffee. So I think also just stopping and not doing the norm and just like looking at what you want to get out of it. Sometimes you just got to think a little laterally, I think, when you're taking that next step in your journey.
Maybe next time we can, continue that conversation of like how to find your North Star.
Yep.
You know, like, yeah, it's interesting because, you know, the, hospitality business, it's so broad, like the roles across. So like you might resonate with one aspect of it and it might help you kind of find that spot for sure.
I think for everything that we do, and it kind of comes from a branding thing, it's like that North Star is just always going to help you be true to what you want to achieve and what you want to do. It's going to make sure, like, is what you're doing actually valuable and helping to that goal that you're trying to achieve? It's very easy to get off on like very different tangents. But having something there is going to be like when you're investing money into a new piece of equipment at your cafe or whatever, you're like, does this help us do this thing that we're trying to do up there? If no, maybe it's just a fool's errand. Like, why are we doing that? And having that very early on in your like kind of building process.
Amazing. All right, boys.
No stars. Well, let's wrap it up.
Yeah, I reckon. So that's another episode of Coffee Break with the boys from the up-and-coming, fantastic podcast called It's Just Coffee.
It's Just Coffee.
We
It's
talk
Just
about coffee. We bring coffee to you. We show you behind the scenes in this little section. And stay tuned for more.
Yeah. Make sure to follow us on all those socials.
And It's Just Coffee Podcast.
It's Just Coffee Podcast. And send us a message at hello, it's just coffee,
It's Just Coffee.
pod.com.
Love it.
That's a wrap.